everybody. Welcome to another show. I'm the WrapMaker, Jim McIntosh, and I want to really kind of show you just a little trick, a little tip. That people ask on mine how I make my loops, the nice little frilly loops. Let me show you one. All right, so just take a look at some of these loops we have here. People ask how I make them, what kind of tools I use to make these, and it's really complicated, trust me. I use my fingertips. That's the only way I learned how to do it 20 years ago, and that's how I've been making it ever since. So let me show you how I do that. I've got two projects here. We're going to kind of do one. I'm going to show you a second thing that you can do in creating this. Now, before we go much further, I want to remind you about my book. Nice little book here. Shows those nice little curls at the top. But this is my new book, Wire Wrapping, Simple Techniques for Beautiful Designs. And what's great about this book is it is a step-by-step book. It teaches you everything you need to know. Wire, tools, projects. It's got over 300 full color images as well. So every step as you go, it has a nice image to go along with it. So make sure you pick yourself up one. You can find the link down below in the description. All right, now let's talk about making these loops. I'm going to do this two ways. So I'm going to try on this one here. I'm going to show you, I use the pad of my fingertip and I put that on the inside of my curve. And then I use my thumb to push it around. So let me do it kind of sideways, but see how I'm using, I've got my finger in here and I'm using it to make that curve. See, and that's all I did. Very simple to do. And then I manipulate it and move it around and maneuver it to where I want it. And I'm going to continue making my my curves again with my fingers. Now this time I'm going to use my thumb, use the pad of my thumb, and I'm going to push it with my index finger to make kind of a closed loop. See, so I'm just kind of using my fingertips to make this closed loop. And then once I get it where I want it, I just take my cutters, my plush cutters here, and trim off my excess. And then I like to use my chain nose pliers to kind of close that curl up so that it does not hurt anyone. See, so that's one way that I do it. But I recently reviewed these wire looping pliers. These things are great. I made bales with them. This one, we're going to use this to make those curves. And I'm going to take this one, I'm going to go over the top. So I'm going to make a curve over the top. And the good thing about these is they've got 6 different steps on it. So 6 different sized loops that you can make with these. So I'm going to, let's start with this one right here. So I'm going to go, whoops, I had it the right way the first time. I'm going to go above. So I'm going to do this larger one. So I'm holding it in the jaws. I'm just going to bring it around the top. See how easy that was to make that. And then I can kind of pull that. Once I get that loop made, I can pull it and push it into place where I want it. Like this. There we go. Now I want to kind of mimic that first loop I made. So I'm going to use these to do that. I'm going to use, let's use this one right here. Trying to get that in there where I want to do it. I may have to pull it out just slightly to get the loop where you want it. But there, just kind of push that over the tool. See, so it kind of looks weird now, but because we're using dead soft wire, I can turn this into place where I want it with my fingertips, and there you go. So we've got all of these done. I'm going to trim this off, and I'll use my chain nose to kind of push that into place. See, so I was able to make just really simply 2 loops. So if you're just starting, these looping pliers will probably be the best way to go. And there's a link for all the tools I use. I always have links down in the description so you can get a pair of your own. But what if you don't want to make all these loops? What if you just want just a piece to have a bail? Nothing frilly or decorative at the top. Not a problem. I can help you with that. What we generally will do, did you hear that? See, I have a 65-pound dog that decides that he wants to be up and down all the time. So he's running down here because he thinks something's interesting going on. So every once in a while, you hear the little clickety-clickety-click of his silly paws running up and down the basement stairs. So ignore it. Just ignore it. He's going to be in every video. You'll hear him. So let's figure this one out. So I want to remove all of these wires. Now, the technique that I've always used is I just take one wire. Let's start with a front wire. I take one wire, I hold the piece at a 45-degree angle, and then I kind of rock this back and forth until, there we go, it pops off. So I can do that with all 6 of these. It's not going to weaken the piece at all, because what happens is by that pulling motion, you're kind of leaving just this little hook at the top of it that's kind of holding on to that bail wrap. So I just kind of remove them. It's better than cutting it. When you cut it with flush cutters, you're not going to get the same hook on the inside that's going to be holding on. You're going to have a very flush cut, and it's going to make it difficult to do anything with. So if we just do it this way, we just kind of rock it back and forth. Now get all of these off, and I'll show you what it's going to look like. There we go. And I'm going to try and do 2 at a time. Here we go. Let's get these last 2. There. So we've got all 6 of them removed. And see how good that looks. Just a basic look to it. I do need to kind of fix the bail just a little bit. It was uneven. But see, I took all of those wires off. And if you were to look down inside, you would see each of them kind of spreading out a little bit, holding on tight to the this bail wrap. See, so that's just 2 things that you can do to decorate or to make your piece look how you want it. All right. I hope you enjoyed the show. This was really good. I like showing you guys some of these tips and tricks, just so you can make better jewelry. And keeping that in mind, everybody asks how you make really nice jewelry. I always tell them the same thing: practice, practice, practice.